Truckers all across the United States unite in a boycott following the ruling that requires Donald Trump to pay $354 million and bans him from doing business in New York. And Kathy Hochul responds to the verdict. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Unwoke Thoughts. Today we are talking about this trucker boycott. These truckers are refusing to deliver to New York following this verdict that said that Donald Trump was committing fraud in his businesses. And one of the examples of fraud that they use is his valuation of Mar-a-Lago, which I believe was around $1.4 billion. And they claim it's only worth around $20 million or something like that, which is completely insane. Just go on Google, go on Zillow, look at the surrounding properties. The surrounding properties are a fraction of the size of Mar-a-Lago, which spans from shore to shore, has a massive club, the Mar-a-Lago Club, which I believe Trump lives in. And the properties around Mar-a-Lago, fraction of the size, and they're worth significantly more than $20 million. But following this ruling, truckers are uniting and saying that they are not going to stand for this. They're not going to allow New York to get away with this clear corruption. Listen.
It could shut New York City down. And, I don't want to hurt the people of New York. That's not what I'm trying to do. But my part in it, if New York just loses 10%, just 10% of the trucks that go in there, their prices are going to skyrocket on everything from milk to eggs to any type of goods that the consumer needs. And when that happens, it's going to cost everybody more money.
So if a significant amount of truckers refuse to deliver to New York, what happens to the products and what happens to the food in New York? The demand is going to be a lot higher than the supply. There's not going to be a whole lot of food. There's not going to be a whole lot of products. Just like she's saying right here, if it goes down by 10%, the prices are going to skyrocket because the demand is going to be really high and the supply is going to be relatively low. So this could hurt New York really badly. Their choices that they are making going after Trump in these corrupt cases, and they are literally bringing it on themselves. And this is going to be pressure that is going to be put on them if this boycott succeeds. But this trucker is at a truck stop outside of New York City, and he said it is like a ghost town. Listen to this.
You go, Cannon, New York. You will see all the emptiness tonight in the truck stop. Trucker strike tomorrow, New York, good luck.
So as you can see here, right outside New York City, the largest city in the United States, right? It's New York City. This truck stop is like a ghost town. It's probably usually full of trucks. But because of the decision of this judge, this corrupt attorney general, and also the governor, Kathy Hochul, for supporting what they did, all of New York City and New York State are about to feel the effects of this decision. But this boycott is very real. Truckers feel very strongly about this verdict, as they should, against Donald Trump. This trucker right here is saying that there are truckers that he knows that are turning down high-paying shipments to New York. Apparently, if you have a refrigerated load, that is a good paying shipment. And this trucker says that he knows a guy who just said no, who just outright said, no, I'm not delivering to New York. Listen.
This is real, man. There's guys that ain't going. I talked to a guy, he denied a refrigerated load. Okay, which, refrigerators going to New York City, that's pretty good, man. That's pretty good money. Okay, so I gotta give that guy his credit for that. But, if this goes longer than a week, like they're saying, man, New York City better start stocking up. And they better start stocking up now.
So it looks like New York could be in trouble. But even though this is happening, the Democrats, and specifically Democrat Governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, is standing by this decision. She refuses to criticize it, even though there are business owners and real estate developers that are very concerned about the implications of this ruling. And right here, the Post-Millennial reports, Kathy Hochul says New York businesses are different than Donald Trump. They have nothing to worry about after $354 million ruling in civil case. So guys, I don't know if you remember the clip I played for you the other day of Kevin O'Leary. Yes, Mr. Wonderful of Shark Tank. He went on CNN and he was talking about how ridiculous this case is against Donald Trump. And he was also talking about the implications because he said if Donald Trump is found guilty, then all of a sudden, any real estate developer in the whole United States could also be found guilty because they all do exactly what Donald Trump does. And that is they negotiate with the bank a valuation of the property so that they could take out a loan to build more buildings. And that's essentially all it is. So you go to the bank, you say, hey, my property is worth $500 million. The bank says, no, I think it's worth $300 million. And then you go back and forth, you negotiate till you come to an agreement. And that is essentially what Donald Trump did. And they are calling that fraud. But New York Governor Kathy Hochul has all but admitted that her Attorney General Letitia James' civil case against Donald Trump was a partisan affair. In an interview with local radio host John Katsimitis, I don't know how to say that name, Hochul told other New York business owners that they have nothing to worry about. So it sounds like New York business owners are a little bit concerned about the implications of this ruling, as they should be. Well, I mean, if they're Democrats or if they're communists or whatever, they don't have anything to worry about. But if you are a conservative business owner or real estate developer in New York, watch out, because they are going to come after you, especially if you are specifically a Trump supporter. And she's saying that they will not be targeted by her attorney general's office. So right here, she is admitting that this was targeted directly at Donald Trump. This was a special case. That is very interesting. But Katsimitis asked the governor if New York business owners should be worried that they, too, will be targeted for perfectly normal business operations after the Friday verdict in which Judge Arthur Engoron determined that Donald Trump must pay $355 million in damages. Years after Trump's New York-based businesses took out bank loans, and what did they do? Did they defraud the bank? Did they take the money, never pay it back? Did the bank try to sue Trump? No. He took out bank loans and paid them back. Quote, if they can do that to the former president, the radio host said, they can do that to anybody. So this radio host just directly asked Kathy Hochul, who just said, well, no, these other businesses, they're not Trump. They're different from Trump. This is but what justification did she use for that? Did she explain her answer? No, she just said, these other businesses, they're not Trump. Trump, special case. That's basically what she said. In response to the ruling, Trump said a crooked New York state judge working with a totally corrupt attorney general who ran on the basis of, I will get Trump before knowing anything about me or my company, has just fined me $355 million based on nothing other than having built a great company election interference witch hunt. Quote, the justice system in New York State and America as a whole is under assault by partisan, deluded, biased judges and prosecutors, he said. The Trump Organization slammed it too, saying today's ruling is a gross miscarriage of justice. Every member of the New York business community, no matter the industry, should be gravely concerned with this gross overreach and brazen attempt by the Attorney General to exert limitless power where no private or public harm has been established. Yes, there was no injured party. What is the injured party here? The state of New York? How can they bring that case? It doesn't make any sense. But New York Representative Elise Stefanik weighed in as well, saying if Judge Engoron can railroad a billionaire New York businessman, a former president of the United States, and the leading presidential candidate, just imagine what he could do to all New Yorkers. But for Hochul, a case and a verdict like the one handed down to Trump is pretty much Trump-specific, and no other businesses in New York should fear prosecution. Quote, I think that this is a really extraordinary, unusual circumstance that the law-abiding and rule-following New Yorkers who are business people have nothing to worry about because they're different than Donald Trump. Well, how are they different, Kathy Hochul? How? Because they're not Trump? Is that how? Yeah. She basically admitted it right here in this quote. She said that she would not overrule Engoron's decision due to the need for a, quote, clear separation of powers. What does that even mean? As she said, was envisioned by our founding fathers. Wow, for her to invoke the founding fathers here is almost tantamount to sacrilege, I think. As for New York business owners, she told the radio host, quote, by and large, they are honest people and they are not trying to hide their assets and they're following the rules. Trump was accused of overvaluing his assets to gain loans from banks. The Trump Organization submitted their valuation of assets to banks in support of loan applications. Those banks were able to conduct their own evaluation, should they choose, and gave Trump the loans. So you're telling me that the banks were part of this? Why aren't they going after the banks too? So it's like collusion. The Trump and the banks, they colluded to overvalue these properties. That's pretty much what's going on here, according to New York. Trump then paid them back. For James and Hochul, this was a crime. Yes, quote, and so this judge determined that Donald Trump did not follow the rules. Yeah, this corrupt Judge Engoron, we can all see It's obvious. It's right before your eyes. But Kathy Hochul said he was prosecuted, and truly the governor of the state of New York does not have a say in the size of the fine, and we want to make sure that we don't have that level of interference. Right, Governor Hochul. For many New York businesses, however, Hochul's assurance may not be enough to keep them in a state that prosecutes businesses for taking out loans based on asset valuation and then pays them back. Quote, more than $2 trillion in assets from the companies leaving the city and state for somewhere that isn't here over the past 4 years. Plus, Charles Gasparino told the New York Post, Trump's attorneys are appealing the verdict. So guys, it really seems like New York could be facing a lot of trouble between the truckers' boycott and also these businesses that are worried about the implications of what this verdict will do to their own businesses and their own real estate investments. But what do you guys think about this? What do you guys think about the truckers' boycott? What do you think about Kathy Hochul saying that other New York businesses are different than Donald Trump? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until then, I will see you on the next one.